It's a wonderful Wednesday, and we are here on Hump Day, ready to do our mobility and flexibility practice. It is all good, and today we are going to get strong. We're going to get strong, and don't think strong necessarily as much as strength as you think about endurance. Slow and steady wins the race, right? That is what we're here for. We're in it for the long haul. So stick with your yoga. I'm Jan. This is 316 Yoga. This is your yoga from home. We're just like doing a yoga class in person because we film it live, start to finish, all the mistakes, all the crazy dog things, all the whatever. But it's like a real class. But when it's a real class, you just feel more comfortable being at home, and you can do a class where it's different, and every day is different. Our practice is different every single day, but you're doing it from the comfort of your own home. So you're wearing what you want to wear, you're taking breaks when you want to take breaks, you're using the props you want to take, and you're not one lick of worry inside you about what anyone is thinking, because you are doing exactly, as the bottom of the screen says, doing what's right for your body. Do what is right for you. Everybody's body is different. Your poses may look a little different than mine. You're going to modify it differently. You're going to take it a little differently. You move your leg a little differently. You move your arm a little differently. But whatever it is, you are in this for the sensation of the pose as opposed to how the pose looks. You got to get that into your head. That's a really hard thing to accept sometimes, especially if you're in a class that is live, because when you're in a class that's in person, you want to kind of do what the guy next to you is doing. Don't do that. Just worry about you. All right, as you practice today, in this 1 hour long practice where like I said, we're going to work on flexibility and mobility, which will get you stronger and will help you endure all the things you got to endure. And we're going to be all on the ground today. It's 1 hour long practice, but you can stick around for the whole thing, or even if it's just 10 minutes, that is totally fine too. All right, so you're going to use some props. We always use props. One of the props we always use are the 2 yoga blocks. Have those. If you don't have them, go out and buy them. They're not very expensive, and they usually come with a strap. We're going to use the strap today too. Have an eye shade or a little hand towel nearby. That's really nice for your final Shavasana pose. And always have some water nearby. We got to drink a lot of water. All right, let's start. Modify the poses. Do what you can with what you got. Come down to seated, and what we're going to do is we're going to start in a pentacle pose. In your pentacle pose, oh wait, a word. I gotta think of that. The word to think about today is earnest. Earnest. All right, the word means honest. It means with purposeful intent, showing depth and sincerity. You're here. So give it your best effort. Just give it a go and see what happens. Come on down to your pentacle position. That's a fully reclined position. And as you work your way down here, let's talk about a stress number. A stress number, what is that? On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 to 10, I've got dogs on my mat. All right, I'm going to lie this way. Maybe they'll go to their beds. All right, so here's the deal. On a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, lock in a stress number. Bonnie, get in your bed. Get rid of the dog toy. All right, Bonnie, get in your bed. Or not. Okay, I told you it's live. Come on down to fully reclined. Lock in your stress number. Scale of 1 to 5, 1 to 10. What's going on? And your pentacle pose, you're fully reclined. How often do you do that on the ground? Hopefully you can say fairly often because you do your yoga a lot. But fully reclined, use the benefit of the floor. Nice, straight, even floor, nice, good posture. Your shoulders are plugged in. Your arms, maybe they're down by your side because your shoulders are just, maybe a little tight. Or maybe you bring them on up overhead and you bring your body into the shape of a capital letter X. This is your pentacle pose. Try to have as much contact with the earth as you can. Shoulders, arms, back of your hands, your legs, your calves. Take a deep breath in through your nose and a big sighing breath out through your mouth. I think I'd like to stay in pentacle for one entire practice. And you know what? That is one thing the beauty of doing your yoga at home does for you. If you want to stay in pentacle for the entire practice or for half the practice, you can do it without feeling like I'm not keeping up or I'm left behind. You're doing exactly what your body wants. All right. In a plank pose, we engage everything we've got. We're going to do that right now just by squeezing our hands to our fists and crunching and squeezing your toes to the soles of your feet. In this pose, you will feel the tension go up your forearms, up into your shoulders, up even into your neck. Same with your feet. You're squeezing your toes toward the soles of your foot. You can feel the tension all the way up into your core, all the way up into your belly. Nice tight hold, nice tight squeeze, holding on, tight squeeze, feeling this stretch the strength, the tension in the muscles. And then slowly let it go. Open up the hands. Let the toes relax and just feel the tension melt away from your body. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. No balancing practices today. No balancing poses to challenge you. We're all on the ground. Tune in another day for balancing. Go ahead, squeeze your fingers towards your palms, squeeze your toes towards your feet. Feel the tension mount, feel the tension in the shoulders, up through the neck, in the rib cage even, and in your legs, all the way up through your buttocks. And then release. Let it all go. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathe. This is your pentacle pose. If you want to stay here longer, absolutely, positively do just that. I'm going to go into this half crescent moon pose, or like a banana asana on the mat here. So what I'm going to do is bring my legs together to touch. Sweep my arms on up till my palms touch. Send my fingers higher overhead. Big breath in, big breath out. My feet, I'm going to work them to the right corner of my mat, but they're going to stay together. Put the ankles back together. Keep your bottom, both cheeks down on the mat. Lengthen up through your fingers. Ooh, take this big stretch in your left side body by allowing your fingers, your hands are staying together, let your fingers work toward the top right corner of the mat. As you do that, keep your left shoulder down. Breathe in, breathe out. So a little slight curve, like a little half crescent moon, or like a banana. Just a little curve. Breathe in, breathe out. If you'd like, you can take your right hand, grab your left wrist, and give it a little bit of a tug. Soften in the jaws, soften the top left shoulder. Slowly release your hand from your wrist, palms back to touch, fingers back to the midline. Work your both legs back to the midline. Stretch it out, lengthen it out in your stick pose. Stretch. And same pose on the other side. Work your heels to the left bottom corner. Work your arms and your hands to the left top corner. Right shoulder stays down. Your bottom cheeks stay down equally on the mat. Don't let the right one pop up. Breathe in, breathe out. Lateral flexion of your spine, sideways movement. Now take your left hand, maybe capture your right wrist and give it a tug. Soften in the jaws, soften the area between the eyebrows. Just enjoy this nice big stretch all up through your armpit too. Breathe in and breathe out. This is your reclined half crescent moon. Slowly work the fingers and the toes back to the midline. Stretch it out. Remember, stick pose. Reach through the fingers, palms touching, point through the toes. Let's do a knee hug in. Draw both feet up towards your shins, so both calves, you can feel them on your mat. Float your arms down by your sides and then bend your right knee, dragging your right heel up, up, up towards your bottom. Then lift the right knee up. Interlace your fingers, or you could take a towel or your strap if you can't quite reach to your knee. And that strap or that towel can make your arm a little longer. You can hug this right knee in. Hug it in towards your chest with your strap or your towel, or with interlaced fingers beneath the knee. Breathe here, and as you're breathing, circle your ankle out in one direction, then the other. Squeeze and scrunch your toes. Just move your ankles. Keep this knee good and tight and hugged in. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let it go. No tension. Right leg comes down. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Left heel drags on up using the towel, the strap, or interlaced fingers underneath your left knee. Hug it in. Sigh it out. Breathe it out. Take your time. Ankle, circle it in one direction, then circle it in the other. Squeeze and scrunch the toes, wiggle the toes. Just move your ankle. Nice tight squeeze. As you exhale, you can pull that knee in even more. Breathe. Release the left leg long onto your mat. Now bend both knees. Both knees, bring the soles of your feet up towards your bottom, and let's do a reclined deer pose. Let's tee out our arms, kind of like a nice little anchor upon which to pivot. Let your knees fall to one side. Both knees fall to one side. Take a big breath here. And when you're ready to take an inhale, let your knees float up. And then as you exhale, let your knees float down to the opposite side. Knees up, knees down on one side, knees up, knees down on the other side. Now start to work your neck in too. Knees are going to come up and go down to one side. And then when they're going to the left side, turn your neck to the right side. Then when you bring the knees on up and the gaze goes up, let your knees fall to the right side and your gaze goes to the left side. So breathe through your windshield wiper legs. Inhales and exhales. Get a nice little low back massage. Work the abductor muscles, the outsides of your legs. And you're working your neck too, turning your neck. All right, there's your windshield wiper. Let's bring our knees back up to the sky. Now toe heel your feet to the edges of your mat, and we'll do a deer pose. Let the knees fall to the right side of your mat. Now look to the left. Knees come up, gaze goes up, knees fall left, gaze goes right. Keep at it at a comfortable pace for you, using your breath here. Inhale, knees up. Exhale, knees fall to one side or the other. Think of length in your waist and side body as you take that turn a little deeper. Let's change it up a little bit. Let your knees fall. Let's say to the right. Let your knees fall to the right. Knees have fallen as far as they're going to go toward the earth. Lift your right leg up. Bring the outside of your right ankle on top of the outside of your left knee. So the right ankle is just kind of encouraging that left knee down a little bit. You can still look in the opposite direction, which would be looking to the left. Couple of breaths here. And as you're ready, release that right ankle. Knees go up, gaze goes up as you inhale. Exhale, knees fall to the left, gaze goes to the right. Lift the left leg up outside of the left ankle on top of the right knee. Breathe. Release the left leg from that right knee. Bring your knees back up to the sky and your gaze up there too. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Toe heel your feet in a little bit more so they're kind of, they're parallel to each other and aligned with your thighs. Lift your arms nice and straight. Lift them up overhead. Reach through your fingertips. And then give yourself a big hug. One arm on top of the other. We do this sometimes seated or standing. Now we're doing it reclined. Maybe your fingers can touch your mat. Expand your shoulders to the sides of your mat. Take a breath or two here. Arms float on back up. Fingers reach toward the sky. Another big hug with the opposite arm on top. Elbows cross at the midline. Fingers reach toward the earth. Maybe they touch or not. Shoulders are down away from your ears, and shoulders expand to the sides of your room. Breathe in, breathe out. Fingers go back up to the sky. Really reach your fingers up, up, up. Exhale, let them come on down by your sides. All right, let's do a brief bridge pose. Your feet are on your mat. Press the weight into your feet. Lift your hips on up nice and high. Wiggle your shoulders closer to your spine. Push your feet into the mat. Bridge pose. Hold it here. Maybe 3 cycles of breath. How's that? Keep it high, keep it strong. Press your feet into your mat, stretching out your hip flexors in the front of your hips. Breathe in, breathe out. Big breaths. Sigh it out, let it go. Push your feet back into the mat. Keep your hips lifted. Slowly lower your vertebra down, one at a time, onto your mat. Untuck your tailbone last. Let's come into a child's pose. All right, flip on over. Bring your knees together to touch. Maybe find a block and bring it to about your chest level. Knees are together, big toes touching, hips back towards your heels. Rest your head on your block if you like. For this classic child's pose, you could have your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. How do you like that? You know, maybe you don't so much. So maybe have your arms parallel to each other by the sides of the block. That's a fine pose. You can have no block at all here underneath your forehead. Slip your head on down to your mat. Arms wherever seems right for you in your classic child's pose. The alternative is a wide-legged child's pose. We're all going to make our way to that in a little bit if it's comfortable for you, but right now I am going to take that wide-legged child's pose. Knees spread wide, big toes are touching. I'm going to come on down and I'm going to place that block maybe under my forehead and reach my arms long to the top of the mat. You could also take the block up by your hands and let your forehead come down to the mat. The block at the top of your mat, maybe you put your hands on it. Or maybe you say, I'm going to use both blocks. I want lots of surface area. And you got those blocks at the top of your mat, and you're resting your head on the mat as well. Breathe in, breathe out. This is a wide-legged child's pose. In either variation of your child's pose, if you'd like, engage your Ujjayi Pranayama breath now. All that is closing your lips and breathing in and out of your nose. It's just an efficient way to breathe. Tailbone to the back of the room, hips back more towards your heels. Breathe in, breathe out. Stay here in your child's pose longer if you like. Maybe you go from pentacle to child's pose. And those are the poses you want to do today. So those are the poses you should do today. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Let it be. All right, let's work this child's pose. If you're in a classic child's pose, work your knees a little bit apart, as we're going to work through that evolution of child's pose to tadpole to frog. All right, so here's what you can do. Knees are spread a little wider. Arms are reaching to the top of your mat. Maybe spread your knees even wider still.
Big stretch in those inner thigh muscles, the adductor muscles. Breathe. In your tadpole pose. All right, now it's time for a full frog. To do that, work your toes away from each other, working your shins a little more parallel to the sides of the mat. Sink your hips back towards your heels and breathe. Breathe. Nice job. Let's press into our hands and come out of this pose. Let's bring our feet, our toes back together. Bring your knees in a little bit more. Walk your hands a little more forward. Let's take some little frog push-ups here. All right, so what you want to do is hinge your weight forward, having your shoulders over your wrists, fingers spread wide, and just hold it here. Hold it here. You've got it. Adjust your knees so they're comfortable. And then if you'd like, slowly bend your elbows and bring your chin down a little bit or a lot. You could reintroduce the blocks and introduce them between your hands. This is kind of a way of bringing the ground up to you. Exhale, let your nose touch the block and then back up. One block or two blocks or no blocks at all. Keep your elbows hugged in. Little teeny push-ups to whatever height is right for you, and use those blocks to make it accessible to you. No prizes for doing a full frog push-up. You know, it's just what is working for you today. Let's finish. All right, nice job. Good job. Let's do a cat-cow pose, but let's reintroduce a block. Bring a block between your thighs. If you don't have the block, totally fine. Don't sweat it. We're just, kicking it up a little bit, just doing something a little different. Press the tops of your feet into your mat. Press your hands into your mat. Lengthen through your spine. Exhale, tuck your chin to your chest, tuck your tailbone under, arch your back up to the sky. Inhale, cow pose. Crown of your head and your tailbone lift to the sky. Do a few cat-cows to your pace of breath. Exhale for cat. Inhale for cow. Really think about that tailbone, tucking it under, tucking your belly under, pushing the mat away. Inhale, cow pose, crown of the head and tailbone lift. Move your spine. Let it feel awesome. Let's finish in this pose. Remove the block and send it to the top of your mat, maybe at its highest height. Leave it there for a second. All right, what we're going to do is extend our right leg long. Press the ball of the right foot into the mat. Stretch out the fascia in your feet. Feel the strength, the stretch going up that entire right leg. Breathe here. Cross the right leg over the midline of the body. Squeeze and hug high in the upper inner thighs. Place the ball of the right foot on the left side of your body. Push equally into both hands. Then look over your left shoulder. Look back to your foot, to your knee. Breathe. Sweep that extended right leg around. Bring it to what is comfortable for you. Maybe about hip height. Plant the sole of the foot. Lift your right arm up, up, up to the sky and look up to your hands. Right hand comes down. Right knee goes back to meet the left, other side. Left leg extends. Press the ball of the foot into the mat. Push the earth away. You're gazing down in between your thumbs. You are strong. Cross that leg across the midline of the body. Plant the top of the foot onto the right side of your body. Then look over your right shoulder and look back around to your foot, your knee, your bottom. Breathe. Sweep that left leg around. Plant the foot. Lift the left arm up to the sky. Look up, breathe, finish. Left hand comes down, right knee goes back to meet the left knee. Bird dog, that's why you got the block up here. Let's do bird dog next. It's a balancing pose, but you're staying down on all fours. Press into the earth. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. You're strong. Hold on, endure. Extend your right leg long. Lift the right leg up and keep it here. Maybe you add in the left hand by reaching for that block in front of you and holding it. Your gaze is down towards your right thumb. The block maybe you balance your hand on it, or no block at all. Reach through your fingers, thumb up toward the sky, fingers spread wide, hold it here. Press into the earth and hold on. You're strong. This is bird dog pose. Plant the left hand, plant the right knee, other side. Left leg lifts, knee to hip height. Extend the leg and hold it here. Push into the earth. Add in the right arm. Maybe you reach for the block or no block at all. Reach through your fingers, strong. Lengthen, strengthen your spine. You've got it. Breathe. When you're ready, right hand comes down and your left knee comes down. Let's do broken wing. All right, this is for your shoulders. Come on down, no props at all. Come on down, tee out your left arm, bend your right arm, have your right fingers underneath your shoulder. Put your head, your left cheek on the mat. Roll onto your left hip. Legs stay long, or a little bend in them if that feels good. What you're going for here is that sensation in your left shoulder. You want a good stretch there. Push your hand into the mat. Shoulders getting a good stretch. You sometimes see this in a doorway too. You know, a doorway stretch where you put your shoulder up against the wall, bring your hand to the wall, and you put maybe your right hand on your hip as you get that shoulder stretch. Our right hand on the mat is underneath the right shoulder, and you push into that right hand to open up that collarbone even more. How does it feel? Breathe in, breathe out. Let's do the other side. All right, roll onto your belly. Tee out your right arm. I'm going to switch sides so my bottom's not facing you. I'm going to tee out the right arm. Left arm is bent now. Roll onto your right hip. Push into the earth. Eyes are closed. You're in charge here. What feels best? More of a push into the mat or no push at all? Stretch that shoulder. Breathe in, breathe out. Nice, gentle practice today. Sometimes you need that midweek. Let's finish in this broken wing pose. Roll onto your bellies. Hands underneath your collarbones. Press on up, seal pose. Soften in your glutes. Gazes forward. Come on to a seated position. All right, wide-legged forward fold. Find both your blocks. The blocks are so nice. They just kind of mentally help too. You bring the ground up to you with your blocks, and that feels really nice. Spread your legs good and wide. So this is, again, your adductor muscles. Abductor on the outside. We did a little bit of work with those. Now we're going back to the inner thighs. You got your two blocks in between your legs, and your blocks have lots of different heights. You decide how you want to use them. Hinge forward. Maybe place your forearms on the blocks. Let your toes go up to the sky. Breathe. Maybe close your eyes and enjoy this wide-legged forward fold. Breathe in. You lengthen up in the spine. Breathe out. You soften up. And let your chest come closer to this new earth, to the blocks. Maybe your chest comes to the blocks. Maybe your forehead comes to the blocks. Play with the height of the blocks. Maybe you want them a little higher or a lot higher. Maybe you want them a little lower. Soften your shoulders and enjoy the good stretch. As you're ready. I could stay in that one a lot longer. What do you think? Maybe you would like to do that. Go right ahead. Give yourself permission. All right, I'm going to bring my legs together. I'm going to do that seated forward fold. Okay, so here's one thing you might want to do. Maybe place the block underneath your feet. That kind of, think of it as making your legs even longer, giving you more of a challenge. All right, so toes are drawn toward the shins, like you're standing on the block. Think of like when we do a forward fold, when we're standing. This is a seated forward fold.
So let's lift our arms up to the sky. Stretch through your fingertips. Exhale, slowly reach forward. Let your fingers reach forward. Think of your low back as decompressing. Think of expansion in your hips. Think of expansion in your low back. Reach your fingers forward. And I don't know how forward you're coming. And you know what? It doesn't matter. What you want to feel is a good stretch in your low back. Reach farther if you wish. Maybe reach your hands down and capture what you can capture. Maybe you can touch your toes. Maybe you can reach farther than your toes, and maybe you can capture that block. Lengthen up through the crown of your head, and when you're ready, fold forward. Fold forward, working your nose toward your knees. Breathe in, breathe out. No rush, no hurry. Let it feel wonderful. And as you're ready, slowly bring your shoulders up over your hips. Let's get back into the hips. A shoelace pose. We did this earlier this week. All right, here's what you're going to do. Bend your knees. I don't know how much you want to bend your knees today, but even a little bit of a bend is good. I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to take my left leg and I'm going to bend it so my left heel is behind or near my right hip crease. Then I'm going to take my top leg, my right leg, I'm going to bend it generously and work that heel toward my left hip crease. You can sit up nice and straight here and give yourself a foot massage. It's all good. Now with your blocks, you can bring them in front of your knees, lengthen up here. And then when you're ready, you can hinge forward. You don't have to have the blocks. You can just work your hands forward or not at all. You can sit with your shoulders over your hips. Maybe that's plenty of a stretch in your hips today. If you want more, bring your forehead toward your blocks or no blocks at all, and just reach your arms forward. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't stress over it. If your breath becomes shallow or you're trying to hold your breath, de-stress. Your yoga is not supposed to be a stressor. Back out of the pose a little bit if it's just too much. As you're ready, shoulders over your hips, and let's do our legs the other way. So if you got them bent one way that's not quite in a shoelace, that's okay. Just bend them in the opposite direction than you were. If you had one leg on top, switch it out so the other leg is on top. Breathe in, breathe out, soften up. It's a big stretch in your hips. Use the blocks if you want, or no blocks at all. If you'd like, hinge a little forward or more forward. It's all about what you feel and how you like it. Remember, no blocks is fine too. You'll just reach forward. Slowly, slowly, slowly come on out, shoulders over your hips. Come down to your back for a bound angle pose. All right, feet are on your mat, hands to prayer center, slowly recline. You are in control, you are in charge. Slowly recline until you are all the way down. Once you're all the way down, bend your knees generously. Open up your knees to the sides of the room and have the soles of your feet touch. Arms, think of a cactus. Bring your elbows to shoulder height and let the elbows rest on the ground. Your forearms, let them be parallel to the sides of your mat. Oh, you feel your chest nice and open. Big breaths in and out. Your posture is good here. You got your shoulders plugged in. Your knees are relaxing, open to the sides of your mat. The backs of your hands are down on the mat as well. Breathe in. Breathe out. Stay here if you would like,
or let's do a few little Supta Baddha Konasana sit-ups. All right, so bend your elbows even more so your fingertips lightly come to your temples. Elbows stay open wide. Exhale, peel your shoulders up, lift on up, elbows open wide to the ground and your knees open too. As you inhale, come on down. Exhale up, inhale down. Little lifts, little lowers, just get your core fired up. Breathe. And when you're ready, let's do bicycle. Come on down, shoulders down, bend your knees so that your knees are up toward the sky and the soles of your feet are on your mat. Now, you can peel your shoulders up, work opposite elbow toward opposite knee as you take a little twist here. You could also stay down in the shoulders, elbows open wide. Lift your knees on up so they're over your hips. Draw your toes towards your shins and drive through your heels as if you were riding a recumbent bicycle. Put it all together if you want by peeling your shoulders up, working opposite knee toward opposite elbow and opposite elbow toward opposite knee. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Options, scissor kick. Straighten your legs and see where that goes. And when you're ready, let's finish here. Send your legs long on your mat. Find your strap. We're going to do boat pose with a strap today. Some days we do it without the strap. Today it's with the strap. So your legs are long on your mat. Using your core, lift your legs up to the sky. Get there however you like. Bring the strap underneath the soles of your feet, the center of the strap underneath the soles of your feet. Draw your toes more towards your shins. Hold on to this strap like reins of a horse. This feels nice to just stay here. If you would like to go farther and do boat, think of your heels as weighted. Start to work your heels down toward the earth. Hands are going to slide on up that strap. Peel your shoulders on up. With control, lift on up, rise out of the chest. Shoulders are back and down. Your back is flat. Gaze to where the ceiling and the wall meet. Hold it here. Hug your elbows in. Hold it here. You've got it. Other days of the week, Tuesdays, Saturdays, we do a boat pose without this strap. Just something different to shake it up. Check out our practices every single day on YouTube and Facebook to allow you to be strong and to endure. Hold on, you got this. Turn up the corners of your mouth, put a smile on your face, hold on, lean back like you're in a recliner. This is your boat pose. You've got it. Breathe in, breathe out, soft shoulders. Let your heels come down toward the earth with control. Lengthen up through your spine. Exhale, work your navel towards your spine. Work your hands down both these straps as you fold over in half. Inhale, find length. Exhale, find depth. Rise on up, shoulders over your hips. Remove your strap. Bring your blocks to the bottom of your mat. Have them at a nice stable height, and you come on back to recline. Hands together, lean on back with control in the core all the way down. Lift your right leg up and place it on the block. So the calf can be on the block, or maybe you prefer to scoot the block down a little bit and place your heel on the block. I think that's a little more comfortable. Bend your left leg and crisscross in the shape of a figure 4 here. So figure 4, what is that? Left knee is bent. The outside of the left knee is on your thigh, right above the knee. So you got a figure 4 shape going on here, kind of like a tree pose. Grow your branches. What is that? Remember how we started out in pentacle and we had our arms overhead and we created like a figure X shape with our body? Just do the arms and create like a letter Y shape in the arms. Left knee is open toward the earth. Breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. This is your reclined tree pose. And other days of the week, we do balancing. We do a good amount of that because I think as you get older, you need to balance quite a bit more often. You need to challenge your balance. So check us out other days for some balance poses. All right, how you liking this? Soften in the left glutes. It's time to switch. All right, straighten the left leg and bring it down to that block underneath your left foot. Maybe you scoot it down a bit so it's just the heel on the block or the calf, whatever you like. Bend the right knee. Draw the knee up towards your chest. Outside of the right knee now rests on top of the left thigh. Outside of the right knee falls toward the earth. Your branches are already grown. The chest is open. Maybe wiggle your fingers. You know, sometimes yoga poses, especially in a restorative practice where you hold a static pose for a long period of time, you rest into a pose and you think, oh, what is this really doing for me? There's a lot of benefit to be had, not only in the strengthening, but in the flexibility and mobility, as we mentioned. And when you hold a pose for a longer period of time, the body kind of relaxes into it, and it creates new thresholds of normalcy for the body. What once was seized up and held up and not real mobile, it'll open up when you give it time. You just got to give it time and endurance. Hang in there. You've got it. Take a deep breath in. Maybe a deep breath out, maybe sigh it out, let it go. You know, you can live your yoga off of your mat too. You know, do this when you're watching TV or reading a book or, you know, just try to do some yoga poses here and there. All right, let's come out of this tree pose. Send your right leg back down onto that block so your heels are resting on the block. This alleviates some tension in your low back. I bet you can feel it already. It feels good in the low back. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Let it go. Let's kind of kick the blocks aside, or leave them there, but just get them a little bit out of the way, and roll over onto your right hip. Press on up. Let's do a side plank here. All right, so bend your right arm so your elbow is underneath your shoulder. Press into your forearm. Now what you can do is come on up onto that bottom knee, and that knee can be on the ground, and the top leg, the left leg, can be long. You can lift it up off the ground if that feels good. Then reach this left arm, the one on top, reach it far to the top of your mat. Hold it here. One kind of straight line from your left fingers down to your left toes. Bring your left shoulder back, hold it here. And then come on down. Let's switch to the other side. Come onto your left hip. Press on up to that left knee. Left arm comes down, shoulder over the elbow. Right leg long, right arm lifts. Right arm goes high to the sky, or not high to the sky, it goes high to the top of your mat. And then lift your right leg up. Hold it. You've got it. Don't quit. And then finish. Come on down. Come back to your back and grab your eye shade or your little towel and bring it up by your shoulders. Bring your blocks with you up to about shoulder height. Come on down. Soles of your feet on your mat. Hands to prayer center. Maybe you say a little mantra here, you know, something positive about yourself, like, I'm doing it. Yes, I am. Come on back. Recline. Let's come into a supported bridge. Find one of your blocks, but have the other one close by. Bend your feet. Hips go up. Take your block at whatever height you like. Maybe it's the most stable height or the secondary height. Place the block under your sacrum, the very lowest part of your spine. Rest all of your weight on the block. Arms down by your sides. Palms face up or down, whichever you like. If you have them up, you can kind of wiggle your shoulders a little closer together and feel your chest lift to the sky. So you can wiggle your toes because all that weight is on that block, right? You got all that weight on the block. Allow the low part of your spine to decompress here. Breathe. Your yoga helps prevent back trouble, and so many of us as we get older, we develop back pain. And that is no fun. Stick with your yoga, do your yoga a little bit every day, and you can stave off a lot of these problems that come oftentimes with time in immobility. You got to move it or lose it, right? All right, wiggle your toes. The front of your hips, let's stretch those out in a pontoon pose. And this feels, you can do it with one block, but two feels more comfortable. Press the weight into your feet, lift your weight up off of this block. I'm going to put my block at the most stable height, and I'm going to put the other block right next to it, so I've got more surface area here to cover my surface area of my bottom. Let your bottom come down and rest on these blocks. Now I'm going to send my legs long, heels on my mat, and I really feel this big stretch in the front of both of my hips at the same time. Arms down by your sides. Breathe in, breathe out. And let it go. Such a comfortable pose, I think. And all of us, a lot of us, tend to have really tight hip flexors because what are you doing most of the time? You're seated in a chair. So these muscles that are getting stretched out, think about it. If you're seated in a chair, they're shortened, right? They're compressed. Now they're stretched out. Other days we do lunges, very similar sensation in the hip flexors, doing one hip at a time. This does it a little more gently, both at the same time. Breathe in, breathe out. This is your pontoon pose. Maybe you'd like to stay here. I'm going to press out of this, and I'm going to do Superman and an airplane pose to strengthen my spine. Join me if you want, or stay right where you are. I'm going to bend my knees, press the weight into my feet, pull my two blocks out, roll my spine down one vertebra at a time, bringing my tailbone down last. Gonna roll over onto my stomach. Superman pose. Arms reach long to the top of your mat. Legs are long too. Tops of your feet are at the bottom, right and left corners of your mat. Chin, nose, forehead are down on your mat. Maybe lift your legs up. Feel the compression of your low back. Maybe lift your arms up. Maybe balance on your pelvis, gaze down your nose, and hold it right here. Sweep your arms back if you like, palms face down. Reach through your fingers, lift out of your chest a little bit more as you look like an airplane. Perhaps sweep the arms back up and reach like Superman, and then sweep them on back again like an airplane. Breathe. Finish. Let that airplane land. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press on up through straightened arms. There's your seal pose. Soften in your glutes. Press on up even more to come to a standing on your knees position. Standing on your knees, bring your hands behind your low back. Squeeze your elbows towards your spine. That feels good. Again, opening up the chest. Look up to where the ceiling and the wall meet. Maybe look a little more overhead and hold it here. Think of your chest rising to the sky. Breathe. Let it feel awesome. Shoulders over your hips. Come on down and have a seat in what's called a thunderbolt pose. Sit back on your heels. Back on your heels, tops of your feet are on your mat. Bring your hands to prayer center, lengthen up. Exhale, soften up. Breathe. All right, next pose. Real quick, let's do a fish pose. And you can stay in this fish pose through your final Shavasana if you like. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a gentle fish. I'm going to place the one block at the top of my mat at its most stable height in a horizontal position. The other block I'm going to bring down in a vertical position. I'm going to leave space between the two blocks for my neck. I'm going to put my bottom on the mat. I'm going to take my hands and find my block that's vertical, and I'm going to be able to move it and adjust it here. I'm going to come to recline on this first block. It should be between my shoulders, not lower on my back, between my shoulder blades. The other block is going to be a pillow for my head. I'm going to rest my head on it. Now, your bottom is down on the mat. Arms, bring them out by your sides a little bit. Shoulders externally rotated. Imagine hugging that block with your shoulders behind you. Arms, you can snow angel them out to what feels right for you. Knees, lots of things to do with them. Bend them and place the soles of your feet on your mat to alleviate tension in the low back. You could open up your knees. Remember this when we did those sit-ups? Open up your knees to the side of the room and bring the soles of your feet to touch. You could send your legs long on your mat. What feels best for you in this moment? Chest is open. Breathe. You're in it for the long haul. You're in it to stay strong. Open up your chest. Breathe deeply. Make the most of this moment. Make the most of this pose. So this is a supported fish pose. We do this other days as well, and we do it on a bolster sometimes. That's comfortable. But in this pose, you should feel a great opening in the chest. You should feel like, oh, my lungs are open and I can breathe. Great pose. Great for standing posture. Stay here if you would like. This is no problem to stay here and finish out in this pose. Stay here for 20 minutes if you like. It's really an awesome pose. I'm going to roll off the blocks now and come into that final Shavasana pose, just for a couple of minutes. So I'm going to roll off the blocks. You don't have to go very far. Don't move very far. And then bring the blocks somewhere away. We're done with those. Eye shade or towel that's up near your shoulders, grab it. Send your legs long on your mat. Place your eye shade or your towel on your eyes to cover them and just block out the world as you just focus inward for just a little bit longer. Maybe palms face up. Wiggle your shoulders closer to your spine. Pinky toes fall toward your mat. This is your time. Breathe in, breathe out any way you are comfortable with. Maybe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Or maybe all in and out of the nose. Soften the area between your eyebrows. Give focus to your breath. Do you remember when we started in our first pose in Pentacle? What we did was we squeezed the hands and we squeezed the toes. Let's do that again here. Squeeze your fingers towards your palms. Squeeze your toes toward the soles of your feet. Feel the tension climb and rise in the arms, up through the neck, in the core, in your legs. Just everything's tense. Even squinch your eyes. Make that prune face. And then release. Let it all go. Feel how good the release is. Let's do it again. Squeeze tightly, tightly, everything from your face down to your buttocks, to your toes. And then release. Let it all go. And just, that's kind of what it feels like to just let all the tension go. And that's what your yoga does. Yoga is the union of your body, your mind, and your soul. And it just brings everything together in peace and harmony. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. A few more deep breaths. Now you can stay here longer. Maybe set, hit your remote control and put it on pause. Stay here longer. Maybe you're staying in your fish longer or your child's pose, or maybe you're still in that pentacle pose. It's all good because you're nourishing and nurturing your body. If you need to conclude the hour, take a big breath in and a big full sighing breath out. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Work the motion into the wrists, circle on them both ways, and in the ankles too, circle them both ways. Inhale, reach high overhead, take a big good morning stretch. Do this every morning before you even get out of bed. Start your day off with your yoga. And as you're ready, bend your knees and your elbows. Roll onto one side or the other. Just enjoy how good that feels on the hip. Use your low arms bicep as a pillow for your head. Rest the top shoulder. Eyes closed. Savor this breath and this moment right here. Deep breath in. And a deep, slow breath out. You have the power to regulate your emotions, to regulate how you feel, how calm you're going to be, and you do it with your breath. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Whenever you're ready, slowly either press on up or float on up. With your eyes closed or open, whatever suits you, just try it different ways and see what you like. Sit comfortably, whatever that means for you. Bring your hands to prayer center in gratitude. Press your thumbs toward your chest, lengthen up through your spine. Take a deep breath in and a deep shoulder softening breath out. Blink your eyes open. Ta-da! You did it! 1 hour. Some days when you come to your mat, you think, oh, I'll never be able to make it an hour. Other days, you know, it just goes by so fast, doesn't it? It goes by really quickly. Once you start, that's the hard part. Just get there. Get to your mat. Once you start, once you do it, it goes by so quickly. And the benefits are just astronomical. Just you are doing so much good for your body when you take this time on your mat and find peace and strength and love and joy and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness and gentleness. And it all takes self-control. But you got it under control. All right, you took a stress number in the beginning. What was it? And what is it now? You feel a lot better, don't you? Remember this. It's awesome. All right, have a great day, everybody. See you on your mats tomorrow. Stick with it. Remember, a little bit of yoga goes a long way. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Hey, how are you? You're just a good girl. Yes, you are.